Hello, everybody, and welcome. Let me start by saying I have some of the best subscribers. You guys teach me so much. I love your comments. Please keep them coming. Today, we're going to talk about something very serious and unfortunately disappointing. This is John Chapman. I just did a reaction to the video of John Chapman earning his 2 medals of honor with the drone footage. I'll leave that in the description or at the end of this video so you could click on that if you like. But coincidentally, they are going to have a museum exhibit, a Medal of Honor museum exhibit, and there's a lot of controversy with it. I'll let Valhalla talk about it. This is a man I have a lot of respect for. I've watched his channel for a while, and he has a really great channel. If you haven't, please like, comment, and subscribe on his as well. But we're going to get into this, and this is a very disappointing situation, and I would just like you guys to tell me what you think. I watched a little bit of this, full disclosure, but I just wanted to watch it with you and maybe get your opinion.
You're telling me all of those things together don't warrant one of the top 200 spots for the Medal of Honor, but the story of the guy who abandoned him for dead, who didn't actually do any of these things and was given basically a fake Medal of Honor, he deserves. I mean, I
Oh
get
no.
SEALs like do not care, right? Like they will hunker down and live a lie their entire lives. We know that. Why did you even respond with that email just to confirm that you're giving a big middle finger to the Chapman family?
If this is true, it's terrible.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And today we are going to continue to cover the John Chapman story that I put out on the channel a few days ago regarding the huge controversy surrounding the Medal of Honor Museum, potentially disrespecting both John Chapman and the Chapman family. So, for those of you guys who haven't seen, the museum reached out to me directly through email with an official statement from their
Oh,
CEO,
okay.
Chris Cassidy, in response to my
Huh.
YouTube video. So we're just going to go over that today. All right. If you're not spun up on what's going on, watch my previous video on this. We'll get you caught up. Quick recap.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
So the Chapman family put out a Facebook post, very, very emotional and upset that supposedly when the new museum, Medal of Honor Museum opens, that John Chapman will not be featured in an exhibit.
Hmm.
That in itself, a little bit of a controversy. The bigger controversy to this whole story is that while John Chapman will not be receiving an exhibit, the man who abandoned him to die, Britt Slabinski, will be receiving one of the 200 features.
Okay, so if you haven't seen the drone video that I just spoke about, there was a part where it was really kind of weird to look at because we have this Air Force operator and then all these SEALs. And it seems like he's engaging the enemy way more than the rest of them are. He even charged one of the bunkers. And as he was laying there injured, and the SEALs were retreating, I think, from the second bunker, they kind of passed him right by and just kind of left him there. And I think that's pretty much what they're talking about here. And I assume this is the SEAL that was in charge of it. And I did see a thumbnail of and a little bit of the video of him receiving the Medal of Honor from Donald Trump. And a lot of the comments were really terrible towards him about this. I don't know anything about this, but if everything that is being said is true, this is a very terrible side of our government.
Exhibits. That was the accusations from the Chapman family. Again, the museum has reached out and given me their official statement. We're going to go over that today. Now, real quick, I did this in the previous video. This isn't me saying that Slabinski abandoned John Chapman. Let's go to Google and type it right into the search and see what Google has to say.
Oh boy.
All right, you type in, did Slabinski abandon John Chapman, yes or no? AI overview will come back and tell you. According to the available
Jeez.
information, yes, Britt Slabinski is considered to have abandoned John Chapman during a combat operation. There you go. Okay, so as you can see,
Looks bad.
that's the big
The video kind of described it that way as well. They weren't like trying to be political about it, but they're basically saying they left him.
controversy. Not that necessarily Chapman gets overlooked, because again, well, as we jump into the email, we'll see there's a lot of Medal of Honor recipients, but that the guy who left him to die will. Ooh, not good. But is that true? Well, let's jump into the official statement from the museum itself and see what they had to say. All right, as you guys can see, straight from my email inbox right here, okay? From Amber McDowell, on behalf of the National Medal of Honor Museum team, we saw your YouTube video on Master Sergeant John Chapman. Want to reach out with some additional background from the museum president, CEO, Chris Cassidy. Okay, let's just jump down into the statement right here. Okay, initial statement: the museum does not play a role in deciding who is awarded the Medal of Honor. Of course it doesn't, right? But it does decide who is featured in one of its 200 basically premier exhibits. So the way, as I understand it, this museum is going to work is that there will be the overall museum, and then there will be featured exhibits that there'll be 200 of that really shed light on an individual Medal of Honor recipient's
Right.
story. Okay, so they then move down here to say it is not possible to tell 3,500 plus stories in detail at the museum at one time. Stories
Okay.
told, images selected,
Understood.
and individuals highlight at the opening represent the first of many rotations. Okay,
Got it.
background. Now they state here, Master Sergeant Chapman's story will be included in a museum exhibit outlining the history of the Medal of Honor.
Mm.
Let's be clear. John Chapman will not receive his own exhibit as one of the 200. I have a picture, because they sent it to me,
Okay.
of where John Chapman will be featured in the museum. Let's take a look right here. This is where John Chapman is going to be featured. Try to find him in Where's Waldo, okay? Probably near the front of the exhibit, there's going to be this timeline of events. And if we go all the way over here to this tiny little
Oh,
picture
yeah.
under
That little 2018.
2018,
Mm.
you have John Chapman's story. Now, if I blow this up, we can see, there we go. Technology as eyewitness, tiny little background about John Chapman. Okay, well,
Jeez.
there we go. So the museum has confirmed John Chapman will
Jeez.
not receive one of the 200 featured exhibits. He'll have a tiny little picture here as part of a timeline of events. That is where he will be featured. Okay?
Let me tell you something. If you watch that video, that drone video I keep referring to, he was a total hero. He really was. I don't get this. And with all these other people, these are just stories that were told by the command. You have actual video of this guy doing what he did. I don't see what this is weird.
Now, the question is, if we go back to the email, is because of the controversy is not that Chapman, and the Chapman family even said this, they understand
Yeah.
that everybody wants their kids or their sons or their
Right.
husbands to be featured in an exhibit, but
Understood.
that's not
Right.
the controversy. The controversy is that Britt Slabinski, who the second half of this video will be dedicated to him and his story,
Jeez.
will receive one of the 200 exhibits
Oh
instead
no.
of John Chapman.
Really?
That's a controversy. Okay?
That's
And as you
messed
see,
up.
the museum was very purposeful.
First of all, how did he get a Medal of Honor award anyway, considering what happened right there? Like any heroics that he performed after the fact should all be canceled out by the fact that he left John Chapman. Am I wrong in saying that? I mean, if you rescued 1,000 people after that, you abandoned one man, I don't think you don't deserve the Medal of Honor. That's just my opinion. I don't know. You guys tell me.
On not touching that controversy. That was the entire controversy in the first video. They didn't even mention Slabinski. I reached out to the museum. I gave them 5 days to respond, and I specifically asked them about Slabinski and will
Wow.
he have an exhibit.
Right.
They did not respond to my email.
Oh no.
Problem for the museum is they did respond to the Chapman family, and I have those emails.
Oh
So
boy. Here
let's
we
take a
go.
look at those. Now, guys, I'm going to put the emails between the Chapman family and the museum up on the screen, but to protect the Chapman family and their email addresses and their personal information, I
Sure.
screen grabbed these. So you
Of
guys
course.
understand, I have the entire email chain. Okay, I'm the one who screen grabbed these, just so you guys know, just to protect the family. But let's look at the first one. So the Chapman family reached out to the museum and asked, I have two questions. Is Slabinski one of the 200 who will have an actual exhibit? And two, will my book, Alone at Dawn, who John Chapman's sister and Dan Schilling wrote together, be physically in the gift shop or referenced online? Now, the museum officially responded to them, as we see here. Yes, Britt Slabinski's story is featured in the museum.
Oh
Again,
boy.
the question was, will Britt Slabinski have his own exhibit as part of one of the 200s? The response, yes, he will. Okay. Then our retail team is working through a list of books that can be available both in physical store and online. So I don't have an answer to your question. So
Hmm.
the official
Hmm.
response from the museum
Hmm.
is John Chapman will not receive his own exhibit. Britt Slabinski will
Will.
receive his own
Hmm.
exhibit. And they probably won't even put Chapman's book in there.
Jeez.
How about that, guys?
This feels a little bit like a cover up. Like they don't want the Navy to look bad because of what happened on that ridge. And then just giving him the Medal of Honor is just their way of also covering it up. And then this whole museum thing is just another way to just pile on. So I am so glad and grateful for Valhalla to point this out. And wow.
That's pretty interesting, isn't it? And again, this is the front half of the video. We're going to dive into how disgusting this really gets.
Oh
It
no.
gets
It
way
gets
worse than you
worse.
guys can imagine, how corrupt things really are. Okay?
Bad
So let's
enough.
dive a little bit into why this may be happening. Okay? First of all, let's take a little walk over to the museum website and look at their board of directors.
This is so good.
That might be interesting. Let's go take a
Oh
look.
wow.
All right, guys. National Medal of Honor Museum official website. You go over to our leadership and staff. You guys can look at this yourself. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Okay, let's see who's on the board of directors of this museum. There might be some interesting people on this. All right, scroll down. Honorary directors. All right, some presidents. Got it. Let's move on into the board of directors, the people who run the
Hmm.
museum, make decisions. As we scroll down a little bit here, we're going to find somebody interesting. Who is this right here
Oh
on the left, guys?
wow. He's on there.
Seal, Britt Slabinski.
Oh boy.
The same Britt Slabinski who abandoned John Chapman to die, who is receiving one of the 200 exhibits, just happens to also be on the board of directors at the museum.
This is crazy. Look at some of these names too. Some of these people, like, who the fuck are they? Brad Meltzer. I watch his show on TV and stuff like that. Like, why are you on this board? This is weird. But I mean, to have him on the board, he's obviously lobbying for his own shit. And this is freaking disgusting, you guys. It really is.
Now that seems really odd to me. That the guy who abandoned John Chapman to die has put himself in,
Wow.
while he's alive, mind you, as one of the opening 200 featured in the exhibit. The fucking audacity
Yeah.
of this guy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Britt Slabinski.
Maybe he thought no one would
Let's
catch
talk
it.
about his story. Let's talk about how he got his Medal of Honor.
I'm so grateful for this guy. I'm so grateful for Valhalla.
Now, this isn't my story. This is alleged, but there are multiple books written on this, okay? You have books written by
Dan
Dan
Schilling,
Schilling,
yeah.
Matthew Cole. You've had tons of SEALs, including SEALs involved on this operation, on podcasts, who have all told the same linear story about Slabinski and him receiving the Medal of Honor. Okay? The reality is this. Here's the real story, as according to literally everyone involved, outside of Slabinski, okay? And SEAL Team 6's command.
Right.
And that is that initially, John Chapman is abandoned to die. Slabinski's statement onto why is that he thought Chapman was dead because his laser wasn't moving. As you see in the ISR footage, as
You
again,
can't leave him still.
for those of you who didn't know,
I thought the whole mission was to retrieve a man that was probably dead anyway. So you're gonna leave it another man? That doesn't make any sense.
I'll put it in the description. The entire thing is on camera. All
Yeah,
of Chapman's actions, all the heroism, all of it is
right.
caught on camera. There is no
Yeah,
refuting it. First Medal of Honor ever to be caught on camera.
yeah.
Okay? That's important. So initially, SEAL Team 6 tries to lie about John Chapman's actions, tries to cover up his death.
That's bad.
But what's the problem with that? The ISR video footage exists and comes out. And when it comes out, obviously everybody realizes John Chapman is the real hero to this story. John Chapman then gets put in for the Medal of Honor, like he should. 2 Medal of Honors,
Two of
I
them.
believe.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the big problem with that? Well, Roberts Ridge was a massive leadership fuck up.
Yeah, it looked like it. Dude, these guys were just landing in the hot zone, just getting mowed down. I don't understand what was going on there. I really don't. It was just, I don't know what they were trying to do. It looked terrible.
Going in there from start to finish, the actions on the ground by Slabinski,
Yeah,
emergency exfilling, leaving men behind,
yeah.
all huge, huge failures
Total
by
cluster,
SEAL
man.
Team 6 and SEAL Team 6's command.
Yeah.
So, why is that a problem? Well, because now when John Chapman's story comes out, and it turns out an Air Force combat controller is
Right,
the real hero,
right.
while
Not the
SEAL
SEALs.
Team 6 looks like a bunch of cowards.
Yeah, dude.
SEAL Team 6,
When you watch the video, you see John Chapman at the top of that hill by himself engaging those people, and then all the SEALs are on the bottom, just kind of, I don't know, hanging out. I don't know what they're doing. But it's just really strange how he was the only one engaging them and then rushing that bunker. And you see it on video. It's really strange.
can't have that on their reputation. The command can't have that on their
Hmm.
reputation. So, like a lot of stories, Lone Survivor, the Navy and SEAL Team 6 decides they need to turn this into a story about their heroism.
And Lone Survivor is another example of this bullshit, man. I did a video on that, and I knew that Lone Survivor story was a bunch of bullshit, and not just coming from the guy, but coming from the Navy. And this seems to be a pattern, man. I don't understand this, and I don't know why isn't any oversight on this. These people should be losing their job for lying to the American public. They should be losing their jobs.
So, what do they decide to do? They decide to make Britt Slabinski the hero of the story.
Fucking poster
And
child, right?
essentially write up his Medal of
Terrible.
Honor citation with John Chapman's actions.
How do you sleep at
Okay?
night?
Let's put it on the screen. Let's see what they put him in for. So we get right down into the brass tacks and talk about Britt Slabinski's actions that he was written up for by some eyewitness, I'm not sure who. Says here, Senior Chief Slabinski repeatedly exposed himself to deadly fire, personally engaged the second enemy bunker and orient his team's fire in the furious close quarters firefight. Proximity made air support impossible, and after several teammates became casualties, the situation became untenable. Senior Chief Slabinski maneuvered his team to a more defensible position, directed in airstrikes in very close proximity to his team's position, and requested reinforcements.
The airstrikes seemed like they were coming on top of Chapman. I mean, he was just like the guy seemed like he was just panicking and he called for fire because he was scared.
As daylight approached, accurate enemy mortar fire forced the team further down the sheer mountainside. Senior Chief Slabinski carried a seriously wounded teammate through deep snow and led a difficult trek
I didn't see that
across
part.
precipitous terrain while calling fire in on the enemy. What's the problem with that story? ISR footage exists. That's John Chapman's story.
Yeah.
John Chapman is the one who assaulted those enemy bunkers. We
Yep.
see it on camera.
Yep.
John Chapman is the one that called in danger close HC-130
Yep.
fire. Combat controller JTAC, that's his job.
Mm-hmm.
John Chapman is the one who stayed behind so that all those other SEALs can live.
Yep.
And this isn't me, guys. I'm just going based off of the video footage that I watched.
Another helicopter landed and SEALs were coming off and were getting hit, and he was actively dying, John Chapman, and he was still engaging the enemy, just trying to give cover fire for those guys.
Watched this, and I don't. You guys tell me. Find where you can see Britt Slabinski do any of this in that video footage.
It's
And then let me
crazy.
know,
I don't.
'cause
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
it's not
missed
in the
that.
video footage.
It's not in there.
And I'm not sure who's eyewitnessed to this. So, again, as far as I can tell, I'm not sure where these actions are. Okay, but that's not even the end of the controversy, guys.
Hmm.
Now, you have a bunch of other things that are surrounding Slabinski. Again, that these books talk about, that these podcasts talk about, people in the SEAL community talk
Oh
about.
no. Like what?
And that's, he was never eligible to earn a Medal of Honor for a bunch of reasons to even begin with. Again, not my words. This is just from the SEAL
Oh
community
boy.
and all the books written. Let's talk about why people say that. Okay. One, he didn't earn it, in the fact that he literally didn't earn
Right.
it
It was a total
because
lie.
we have video footage of him not doing the things that they said
How
he
do you
did.
sleep at night?
Two, part of the requirements of earning a Medal of Honor is you cannot have any dishonorable service in your record.
That
You
makes
can't have a
sense.
DUI. You can't have claims of domestic violence. You can't have been kicked out of a unit persona non grata.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's what I was telling you earlier. If you have one black mark on your record, you can't get the Medal of Honor, man. You just can't.
Well, according to everybody in these books, these podcasts, Slabinski was kicked out of the unit persona non grata.
Why?
He never could, he should not have been able to have been awarded that Medal of Honor because of that. But apparently what happened is when the Navy asked, is there anything dishonorable in Britt Slabinski's career or history, they lied and
Oh,
covered that up
wow.
so that he
Why
could be
not?
the hero of the story
Right.
for SEAL Team 6
My gosh.
instead of John Chapman.
This is so disappointing.
Now, what is the biggest issue with this Medal of Honor? Well, you have two Medal of Honors for the same mission, John Chapman's, Britt Slabinski's. The two Medal of Honor citations directly go against each other.
Right. They conflict.
Both can't be true.
Right.
Well, what do we know? Well, we know one of them for sure is true because we can watch it with our own eyeballs,
Crazy.
and that is John Chapman's.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this dude even have a Medal of Honor? You tell me, guys.
It's Navy
Again,
bullshit.
this isn't from me. This is from tons of people who've written books about this, talked about this.
This is a really good thing to talk about, okay? Because if you notice, you see a lot of operators. Like I'm a regular ground pounding Marine. I'm not a special operator. These guys are special operators, so they know intimately some of the inner workings and some of the bullshit that they have to deal with the bureaucracy in the military. Okay, and if you notice, a lot of veterans are very, very pissed off at how the government and the military, the command, handles a lot of these situations. We don't have a lot of trust for the government in a lot of ways, and because we used to work for the government, I used to work for the Department of Navy specifically, and just hearing this kind of stuff, just like it just confirms a lot of suspicions about some of the bullshit that goes on. And I don't know why there isn't oversight to clean this shit up. I really don't. It's really disappointing and terrible.
So
Not a good recruiting tool.
here's the controversy. Again, the controversy is not John Chapman not receiving one of the initial 200 exhibits, which he probably should, considering one, it's incredible.
Totally.
Two, historically, it's the first one ever caught on
My point.
camera. People can watch.
Mm-hmm.
And three, he's the only Air Force soldier to win the Medal of Honor in the entire 20-year war in the global war on terror.
I forgot about that. So he should get his own exhibit just for that reason, honestly, man. But and if you see his actions, dude, he was a total badass hero. He really was.
You're telling me all of those things together don't warrant one of the top 200 spots for the Medal of Honor?
Right.
But the story of the guy who abandoned him for dead, who didn't actually do any of these things, and was given basically a fake Medal of Honor,
And is on the
he
board.
deserves it? That's on the board of the
Right.
museum?
God, it's so
That's
gross.
still alive?
This is
He
disgusting.
deserves one of the 200 of exhibits? Wow, museum. The
I'm protesting.
audacity
I'm protesting.
of you guys.
Yeah.
Why did you even respond with that email? Just to confirm that you're giving a big middle finger to the Chapman family?
And all veterans.
What? What are you guys thinking?
Hmm.
I mean, I get SEALs, like, do not care, right? Like they will hunker down and live a lie their entire lives. We know
That
that,
sucks.
right? We see that all over the place.
That's not very heroic.
But this is amazing. This is so disgusting.
It really is.
Again, remember guys, the US Navy, SEAL Team 6, they tried to cover up, discredit, remove his medals, cover up his death,
This is so bad.
disgrace his family. They already tried to do that. And now those same people involved in that are running the museum and putting themselves in for exhibits. Unfucking real.
Yeah.
So guys, you tell me what you think. You think Britt Slabinski should be one of the 200 featured instead of John Chapman? Let me know in the comments section.
My God.
It'll be very interesting to see if that museum opens on opening day with a full-fledged exhibit for Britt Slabinski. Well, I can tell you this. If this gets out to enough people and enough people are enraged,
I'm pissed.
I bet you there might be some decisions to change that. So, we'll see what happens. Again, museum didn't want to respond to me when I pressed them about Slabinski, so this is the video you get. That's it for this one, guys. Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day. Well, like I said, I had a little background to this. I didn't know all the little details. I didn't watch enough of it to know. This is really disgusting. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm a regular Marine. This is gross to me, and it doesn't make me feel good about the Department of the Navy or this museum and how they're handling it. So let me know what you think. I appreciate your time. Have a good day.